The Las Vegas Raiders are taking on the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. It's an early game. And make sure you wake up, set that alarm, and join Jeremy Chuggs and I because we're going to be doing a watch party for this one. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are turned on. We're going to be doing a jersey giveaway, and I can promise you this, you are not, and let me rephrase this, you are not going to want to miss it. All right, Raider Nation, shout out to everyone in the building here. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be looking at keys to victory on the offensive side and the defensive side of the football for the Silver and Black. I did it last week up against Denver. We came away with a just win, baby, so I figured, you know what? Let's do it again this upcoming week here against the Bills in a very difficult matchup. I hear you out. The Raiders, they're 1-0, but the Bills are 9.5-point favorites. 9.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 47 points. That's just downright disrespectful. Do I think the Bills are the better team on paper? Yeah, probably. But that doesn't mean that they're going to win. We know that. So how about this? There's going to be a lot of Raiders fans. There's going to be a lot of Bills fans that tune into the show. That's just usually how it goes. And I want you to get your score predictions in for Raiders, Bills on Sunday. Again, over-under is 47. The Las Vegas Raiders are 9.5-point underdogs. It's absolutely insane. So we're going to be looking at some keys to victory here. And we're going to go with the offensive side of the football to really get this thing going. And to be honest, this is probably going to be a consistent key to victory on this show. First thing, you got to protect Jimmy Garoppolo. Las Vegas did a phenomenal job this past week. PFF had them graded as the second best pass blocking line in all of the NFL after week one. If Jimmy G's upright and he has time to throw, it's going to be a good game. That's where he's going to be able to deliver. Jermaine Illuminor is battling a little bit of an injury, though. I talked to him. He's okay. He's going to be fine to go. I need to see more out of Dylan Parham this upcoming week, but in terms of protecting Jimmy G, they need to be able to do that for multiple reasons. One of the reasons is I want to see Garoppolo get more time to sit back there and deliver a few deep shots. Like, I hear y'all loud and clear. Garoppolo is not a good deep thrower of the football. He's not. But the Denver Broncos last week stacked the box. And that's exactly what Buffalo is going to do. You look at that last game against Monday Night Football with Buffalo and the Jets. The Bills started stacking the box because there was Zach Wilson there. And they said, all right, Wilson, beat us deep. Yes, the Jets still won that football game, but what I don't want to happen here for the Raiders, Josh Jacobs in general, is if you take away that intermediate passing game, if you take away the running game because teams are just stacking the box, the easiest way to get somebody to back off is to take a few shots deep down the field, and the Raiders desperately need to do that this week. Then, if you protect Jimmy Garoppolo, you take a few deep shots, the corners, the safeties, everybody starts backing away. That's going to help you get Josh Jacobs going early. I need to see a heavy workload, a heavy touch load, giggity, from Jacobs this upcoming week. Last week against Denver, 19 carries, 48 yards, 2.5 yards per carry. Throughout his career with head coach Josh McDaniels, Jacobs has averaged 23 touches per game. One of the best ways to keep Josh Allen on the sidelines is to run and kill some of that clock. If the Raiders get into a game where the more and more Allen is on the other sideline and then you can set up the play action, you can set up the quick intermediate routes, I'm telling you right now, that's going to be a good recipe for success for Las Vegas. All right, let's go to the next one. You better use Hunter Renfrow and you better use Trey Tucker. Like, I was very frustrated last week because we heard all this talk about pre-snap motion. You heard the Raiders saying a lot. McDaniels and Ziegler were talking a lot about we want guys moving. That's one of the reasons why we went out and got Trey Tucker. Well, let's use him. You want a guy to stretch the field? Use Trey Tucker's speed. You want a player that you can rely on in the slot? It's Hunter Renfrow. At the time that I'm making this video, I don't know if Jacoby Myers is going to play or not. At the time that I'm making this video, he is still in the concussion protocol. And if Jacoby's not ready to go, I don't know what it's going to take then for the Raiders to figure out a way to get Hunter Renfrow involved. Get Renfrow involved, use the short intermediate routes, and let's get Trey Tucker on the field and start utilizing some of that speed. And then my final key to victory here is this. You can't have red zone turnovers. It blows my mind that the Raiders won last week and had a red zone turnover as bad as what they did. But against Buffalo, you're not going to be able to win if you're turning the ball over in the red zone. The Raiders need to bring their A game. Last week, they brought their C game, and they were able to beat the Broncos. Why? The Broncos are not that good of a football team. Buffalo, I get it, they lost. And I get the fact that they lost to the Jets without Aaron Rodgers, with Zach Wilson. But the Jets' defense is one of the best defenses in the entire league. They have a lot of skill position players on top of that. All I know is if you don't convert in the red zone and you're kicking field goals, you're not going to beat Buffalo on the road. It's not going to be a pretty situation. So Garoppolo, McDaniels, whatever we need to do in order to convert in the red zone and not turn it over, that is going to result in a win. So one more time here off the top, my 5 keys to victory on the offensive side of the football. Protect Jimmy G. Take a few deep shots. Let's get Jacobs going early and often. You better use Hunter Renfrow and Trey Tucker. No red zone turnovers for the Silver and Black. I believe if the Las Vegas Raiders do all of those things on Sunday against the Bills, it's going to result in a lot of good stuff going down. Now, I get it. We're talking about the Bills week 2. But hey, if you want to hang out with Jeremy Chugs and I, we're going to be out in Las Vegas week 3. We're flying in late Friday night, and then all day Saturday, we're hanging out with the Blackout Division. If you want to RSVP to every single event that Jeremy and I are going to, it is 100% free. All you got to do is go to blackoutdivision.com to RSVP. We're going to be partying up at Tropicana. This is the one that you got to go to. It's a free party, and it's sponsored by Happy Dad, so we're probably going to have a few. Woodson Whiskey, Pacifico, free party, and it's at Tropicana. All the details that you need are going to be down below at blackoutdivision.com. Now, the only thing that costs money, unfortunately, Jeremy and I won't be at the Blackout Party Bus, but realistically, if you use code Raiders Report, you're going to get $10 off your party bus tickets. It's a great deal. You're going to be able to hang out with Graphic Raider, Raider Cody, and the reason why I like this is because you're hanging out at Barcode Burgers, which is where I had my burger eating contest, and then you're going to take a party bus to Allegiant Stadium, and then that party bus is also going to pick you up. If you haven't been to Allegiant Stadium yet, it is a nightmare to get around. So use code Raiders Report for $10 off your party bus ticket, and then also, Chugs and I, we're going to be doing an interview with Marquette King. If you guys want to pull up, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., it's at the Blue Wire Studios in Wynn, Las Vegas. I encourage anybody that wants to see Jeremy and I in action, wants to see some of these other Raiders content creators in action, RSVP to all the events down below at the link, blackoutdivision.com. All right, we're going to keep it rolling here. Let's go to the defensive side of the football. And this is the big one with Buffalo. We can talk offense. If the Raiders do not slow down Josh Allen, they're not going to win this game. And I want to see Patrick Graham draw up some blitzes early and often. You got to pin your ears back, and you better get north and south going after Allen, because if he's got all day to sit back there and throw, he's going to pick you apart. The Jets did such a good job last week because their front four is legit, and they were able to get after Allen with just 4 and then sit back and have 7 guys on the back end. The Raiders aren't going to have that luxury. They're not going to win. Max will win his battles. Besides that, Malcolm better step up. We need to see a little bit more out of Tyree Wilson. The Raiders' defensive tackle unit, we know it's not that great. However, though, if you're able to get into Josh Allen's face and rattle his cage a little bit, that's going to go a very, very long way. So I'm looking at guys like Robert Spillane, a Divine Diablo. Hell, if I'm Las Vegas, I wouldn't even mind the idea of maybe like a Curtis Bolton playing a QB spy. Maybe Amari Burney, who is a phenomenal athlete. Maybe you could use him as a QB spy, which then kind of leads into my next thing here. You can't allow big plays. I want you to test Allen's patience. When you see a quarterback like Josh Allen, he goes for the home run ball a lot, right? However, when you go for the home run a lot, you strike out a lot. And that's what you saw last week. And I thought the Jets did a really good job. And I think defenses that get underneath Josh Allen's skin do a good job of blitzing him, getting underneath his skin early, then he feels like he's got to make something big happen. Allen, to me, is not the player that's just going to take exactly what the defense gives him every single time. It's usually what Patrick Graham tries to do, the bend but don't break style of defense. If Allen wants to pick up the underneath stuff, go for it. I just think he ends up getting greedy, doesn't try to do the underneath stuff, takes a shot down the field, and then that's where a mistake could end up happening. The next thing that the Raiders got to do, there's a lot of Josh Allen here because that's really the guy that I'm worried about. You got to get a QB spy on him. I was listening to the Graph and Wasted Talk last night about this entire game, and they were talking about the running back position, and they both were like very indecisive. Like Graph was on one side of, I'm not worried about the running backs. Wasted was worried about the running backs because of Josh Allen. I'm worried about Josh Allen. I'm not worried about the running back unit. Can the running back unit be better because of Allen? Yes. But what I don't want is 3rd and 12. Allen picks it up with his legs. What I don't want is I look at that box score at the end of the night, and he's got 40-something rushing yards, but he picked up 5 first downs with his legs. If it's up to me, I'm putting Robert Spillane on a QB spy, and I'm saying we're going box and 1. That's the only guy you worry about. Does it hurt you a little bit in the coverage area? Yes. But guess what? The Buffalo Bills, they don't have a lot of talented receivers. They have Stefon Diggs and they have Gabe Davis. I think we have enough talent to take those 2 guys out of the game. Yes, they have 2 good tight ends in Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox, but the Raiders should still be able to match up, and I'm putting a QB spy on Josh Allen. So fill in the blank for me right now. The Raiders will beat the Bills if they... What are you putting in there? To me, the Raiders will beat the Bills if they get after Josh Allen. That's how I would fill in that blank. If they can rattle Josh Allen's cage, they're going to have success. Because Allen, when he gets confident, there's nothing that you can do to stop him. When he's in his mind and he's overthinking things, like you saw this past Monday Night Football, that's going to lead to more wins. And I just saw Dylan Erickson said, pressure the QB. We're on the same page. Let's go to the next one here. I'm going to double team Stefon Diggs. If I have the opportunity to, and I like where my matchup is, I'm going to double team Diggs. And the way that I personally would do it is I'm going to roll with 5 defensive backs out there on the field, okay? I'm going to put Ja'Cory and Bennett on Diggs, and then I'm also going to move like another corner over top. Or I'm going to go Nate Hobbs, you shadow Stefon Diggs all over the football field. That then gives Marcus Peters the ability to be able to hang with a player like Gabe Davis. Maybe even you could put Ja'Cory and Bennett on Gabe Davis because of his overall speed. But the Raiders need to be able to make sure that Stefon Diggs doesn't beat them. And either you go Nate Hobbs mano-a-mano, or I know that Buffalo likes to do this with matchups. And if you see Ja'Cory and Bennett on Stefon Diggs, he needs help, or else he's going to be getting roasted. I don't know if Marcus Epps or Merrick over the top would be able to help. Maybe you could add in a guy like Roderick Teamer, Isaiah Paulemayo, Chris Smith. But if you see the matchup as Stefon Diggs and Ja'Cory and Bennett, you better get that man some help. Not because Bennett's not a baller, but because Stefon Diggs is that dude. And then here's the final one. You got to take advantage of the mistakes. If this is a 0-turnover football game, I don't think that the Raiders are going to win. I don't. And with the Buffalo Bills, there's going to be opportunities where the Raiders need to convert on turnovers. Josh Allen is going to take risks. The way Buffalo plays, they're going to take risks. But the question is, are you going to capitalize on those risk opportunities? If the Raiders do, they will win this football game. If the Raiders don't win this turnover margin, they're not going to win this game. So before I get out of here again, set a reminder. This is a big-time football game, Week 2. Raiders 1-0, the Bills 0-1. Imagine starting out 2-0, going into your home opener at Allegiant Stadium against a Pittsburgh Steelers team. It didn't look very good. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you join us 1 hour before kickoff, because I can promise you this, it's going to be one wild show. Some might even say a Wild 114 type of show. Subscribe, turn on those notifications, and if you don't join us to take down the Bills, you eat corn the long way.